What's cracking, y'all? You are now watching Boo TV. Appreciate you for stopping in. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, stay notified, and let's get into the topic for today.
Karl Anthony Towns, Cat. Not Cat Williams, Karl Anthony Towns, Cat. If you've been a member of this channel, you've probably heard me say that I don't like Karl Anthony Towns. And I've expressed my dislike with Karl Anthony Towns for several reasons. I've called him soft. I've called him a bum. I've called him this and I've called him that. I really don't like this guy. Now, this season, the Timberwolves have been one of the better teams in the league, led by primarily Ant Edwards with Karl Anthony Towns by his side, and the defensive prowess of Rudy Gobert, and a solid team. Very young team, but a solid team, and they've taken a big step forward. And I've just been silently watching, and I like Ant Edwards. I don't like Cat, and I don't like Rudy Gobert either. That's another story. And I'm just silently watching, keeping track of everything. I'm like, all right, you know what? Maybe I'm gonna continue to watch, but if Karl Anthony Towns makes me eat my words, I will suck it up. I'll bite the bullet and I'll eat them, and I'll be honest. Now, just a few nights ago, we all know Joel Embiid scored 70 points in a victory, right? On the anniversary, the 18th anniversary of Kobe Bryant's 81-point game. And on the same night of Joel Embiid scoring 70 points against Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs, Karl Anthony Towns scored 62 points. We had a 70-point game and a 62-point game in the NBA on the same night. And that hasn't happened in decades. On the anniversary of Kobe Bryant's second highest game in NBA history. Right? But anyway, I found out recently that Karl Anthony Towns' 62-point game, actually, I didn't get this part when I saw it. They lost to the Charlotte Hornets. But it gets worse than that. Not only did they lose, they lost as a direct result of Karl Anthony Towns stat padding and trying to run up his individual numbers during the game. Up 15 points in the fourth quarter on the Charlotte Hornets, only to lose by the hands of Karl Anthony Towns and his teammates parading him on, trying to get him to run up his points. Embarrassing. Not only that, I heard that the Timberwolves players were getting updates on the bench during the game of Joel Embiid's 70-point performance so that they could keep track of it in hopes of Karl Anthony Towns keeping up and surpassing Joel Embiid scoring that night. I heard that as well. I don't know how true that one is, but I wouldn't doubt it for a second, considering the debauchery that went on with Karl Anthony Towns and the Timberwolves in this game. Karl Anthony Towns had like 44 points at halftime. Overall, Karl Anthony Towns shot 21 for 35 from the field, 10 for 15 from three-point land, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 7 turnovers. Karl Anthony Towns became the 5th 60-point scorer out of 34 of them. Over the past 30 years, to wind up on a losing end of a game, Cat also became just a 3rd 60-point scorer to finish with a plus-minus of 0 or worse, and the second to turn the ball over 7+ times in 30 years. Karl Anthony Towns went 2 for 10 in the fourth quarter, forcing lots of horrible shots late to try to stat pad during a close game. And at one point, the coach even put him off the bench momentarily in crunch time. I don't know if it was because it was fatigue. I don't know if it was because he was unhappy with how Cat was playing. I don't know. But he got benched. And that's something that shouldn't happen. Even his teammate Anthony Edwards corroborates with the story about me saying they were trying to push him while keeping updates on Joel Embiid, when Anthony Edwards admitted that he wanted to see Karl Anthony Towns score 100 points. They were pushing that. The coach acknowledged post-game that the game turned into Karl Anthony Towns trying to, quote, trying to hunt a big number. It led to the team falling apart, and the defense was never there to begin with. Before I continue on, and I have some more things to say, trust me, check out what the coach had to say about this game and Karl Anthony Towns. Check it out.
Chris, what happened in this one to let it slip away?
Well, I mean, it was an absolute disgusting performance of defense and immature basketball all the way through the game. So it really didn't slip away. It had been there from the jump. So this is what happens when you have this type of approach.
You saw that from the beginning of the game right through the
For sure, yeah.
How do you go about trying to right the ship when you see it's like that from minute one?
I kept, imploring them to try to compete and play some defense, switching back between man and zone, anything to contain the ball, push it, get up on the shooters. Messages weren't getting through, so.
It seemed like all season when Karl or Ant start the first quarter off and just scoring a lot of points, and it's coming pretty easy. That leads to the team's worst basketball.
Yeah.
How do you address that? Because there are going to be quarters where it's good when they start out hot, but not have it lead to bad team basketball from there.
I mean, listen, you're spot on. I mean, there's lots of times when just because you've scored 2 or 3 or 4 points in a row or baskets in a row, it doesn't, obviously we're going to try to feed a hot hand, look for a hot hand, but at some point we got to get back to making the right play. We got to get back to doing the right things. That's just, like I said, there's a lot of ways to be immature. There's always a lot of ways to be immature. And there was a lot of immature performances here throughout the roster. We totally disrespected the game ourselves, and we got exactly what we deserved. So,
Chris, did you also see? I mean, did it turn into Karl trying to hunt like a big number?
Yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, but for a while, it was going. But down the stretch, you got kind of dried up for us. But yeah. So.
Why couldn't you stop the bleeding defensively in terms of what were they doing?
I mean, it was ball containment. We just couldn't contain the ball. They dribbled around us every time we had some guys out there trying, and then when they did, there was no second line of defense. And then we were just chasing them all night long. So, and then when we did have them in front of us, we didn't tighten them up, and they shot easy threes. That's when they got really back in the game, was when they made like a bunch of just kind of spot threes right in our face. So.
Could you see that their focus wasn't there even in huddles and things like that?
Yeah, you could see from the beginning that, it was one of those nights. So.
When you're lacking the poise like that, I mean, is there any way to try to fix that during the game, or is this something now where, like, tomorrow and the next day is where the hammer comes down, really?
I mean, the hammer's been brought down. Just brought it down. But yeah, I mean, I don't know exactly, what poise. To me, it wasn't about poise. It was about approach. So.
I mean, when you're not ready to play the game, but you're still ahead,
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you need the poise to.
Well, it's funny.
Run.
What I said at halftime was, why don't we start getting back to being who we are and play some defense and not let this game fall down to a point where we miss a bunch of shots and they make a bunch of shots and then we're behind. That's what I said at halftime.
Chris, I know Ant was sick today. How much did that play into the game that he played versus? I mean, he just really looked like he wasn't looking for his shot at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting off of it, making a lot of the right plays, but he's still got to stay aggressive offensively. And for whatever reason, he didn't really. Obviously, Cat had it going, so everyone was looking for him. But we still need him to be a scorer, and then from that, make the right plays. So.
And then Nikhil's really delivered, I think, in pretty much every game you've started him this year. What have you seen from him in that role, which is a little bit different than what he has normally night to night?
Yeah, I think with that, he gets a lot of really good looks. He got a really good looks. Gets us into our offense, then stays shot ready off of it. And I think he's the primary handler out there. He feels comfortable for that, but he's gets us into the actions where Cat and Ant usually can create some traffic and then get him some good looks. So, but I also liked his decision making when he got to the paint. So.
Coach, you've had a couple of disastrous fourth quarters.
Yeah.
Are you shooting too many threes? I mean, you shot 39 and lost the other game in 40 tonight.
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I don't think it comes down to threes. It comes down to turnovers. It comes down to finishing. We missed a couple layups down the stretch. Cat missed one, Jaden missed one. But it comes down to defense, really, too. So.
Chris, did you think that this team was beyond this kind of a game in terms of, we talked a lot about the more mature approach you've seen? Or
Listen, it's a long season. You're going to have bad games. I was hoping that we were beyond it, but, until you go through it all, you really can't tell. We've been better in not had many of these type of performances, but, this is certainly a disappointing one. But, we got a lot of basketball left to play, and that's what our guys need to understand. Like, we haven't done a thing yet. We haven't accomplished a thing yet. And we got to play with a better desire and better purpose and a better readiness on every single night.
With 12 and a half seconds left in the game, you guys isolated Cat at the nail, and he was able to drive and generate traffic around him. Is that still, like, with hindsight, obviously you didn't get the result you wanted, but is that the type of look you want to create, getting, one of your best players downhill on a night where he's been tremendous for the most part?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we figured there would be a crowd. If we ISO him in the middle of the floor, they would bring help, and then it either has the shot or he makes the kick out. I haven't seen the play on replay. It looked like there was a lot of contact on it. But, it didn't turn out.
Who do you want to be like the stabilizer when Mike's not out there?
Well, it needs to be Cat, it needs to be Ant, it needs to be a bit of everybody, Kyle, for sure. Everyone's got to play their part. But, Kyle's been a good, steady influence, always has been. Last year we used him a lot in those situations. So, but, it's also, Cat, and it's upon those guys to be also stabilizing force, So.
I'm glad he blasted Karl Anthony Towns. Probably didn't blast him as much or as hard as I wish he would have, but he definitely called him out. It's a disgusting style of basketball. It's a disgusting way to play basketball, and they deserve to lose that game. And he talked about three-pointers ain't the problem. Three-pointers is the problems with a lot of these teams. They'll keep shooting the damn threes instead of going to get an easier bucket closer to the rim or in the mid-range. But they'll just keep chucking up threes because that's all they know how to do. But apparently the basketball IQ is so amazing and the skills are so diverse and amazing that they can't figure out many other ways to score. Make it make sense. Karl Anthony Towns, still very immature, like I've always said. Never liked his game. I used to like Karl Anthony Towns. I take that back. I used to like him when he was a rookie. And I was like, I kind of like how this guy's playing. He got a little bit of an old man feel to him. And then The dude just went the other direction and just biggest guy on the floor, but softest guy on the floor. Not scoring in the paint as much, not looking to use his size as much. But he is so intrigued that, according to him, he's the best big man to ever shoot the 3-ball. And he hangs his hat on that. And that is everything to him. He has a smile from ear to ear. Shout out if you know what movie is that from. I might have messed the quote up a little bit. Anyway. Your big ass need to be in the paint. Soft as pudding. Charmin. You should be the mascot for Charmin. Karl Anthony Towns. And this guy, stat padding his teammate, wanting him to get 100 points. The rest of his teammates throwing a game of basketball away when you have one of the best records in the league. At the top of your conference. Fighting for position for that number 1 seed with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, they actually are the number 1 seed in their conference now, thanks to them in this game. That didn't help at all. And y'all going to throw away a game to try to get this guy to stat pad. I am happy he went cold in the 4th quarter and looked stupid forcing up shots, trying to stat pad. And I'm going to make you eat your damn words. Karl Anthony Towns, y'all listen to this. Make you eat these words. See, one of the reasons I started this, one of the reasons, how fuel got added to my fire against Karl Anthony Towns is a couple years ago, not very long ago, he started going in on Russell Westbrook about how Westbrook played and called him out on it. And then Draymond Green came to Russell Westbrook's defense. I think Karl Anthony Towns expressed this opinion in an interview, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think Draymond Green responded in a tweet, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But get this. Got it right here. I'm reading this from an article. Karl Anthony Towns recently revealed his thoughts about Russell Westbrook on a stream with Aiden Ross. Now, recently, but this is an old article, when asked about Westbrook, Towns said that, quote, this is from Karl Anthony Towns, quote, he definitely gets stats. He chases stats. But I think he's a hell of a player. I don't care what anyone says. Do you know how hard it is to get a triple-double? And he plays hella hard. I just think sometimes he plays too quick. He tries to do too much. Karl Anthony Towns, you're calling Russell Westbrook out. A guy that honestly leaves it all out on the floor, like you said. Leaves it all out on the floor. Hard. Gives his maximum effort. All the time. Grabbing triple doubles, whatever. It's a product of how he plays. That's how he plays. He gets rebounds. He monopolizes the ball. He gets assists and he can score. Absolutely. Do I think Russell Westbrook cared about getting triple doubles to some degree? Absolutely. I ain't going to say that. But this level of stat padding, this is egregious, Karl Anthony Towns. You hypocrite. You have displayed one of the worst examples, performances of stat padding and trying to get your numbers and putting yourself before your team and before the game of basketball. I didn't even watch the full game. But what happened? I don't think I've ever witnessed anything like that. I can't remember who it was. This was like a decade plus ago. There was a player, I don't know if it was Corey Maggette, I don't know who it was. I can't remember. Darius Miles, somebody. But they purposely, it was near the end of a game, and they wanted to get their first career triple-double or get a triple-double, whatever. It was the end of the game, and they're on a run-out by themselves. Time's winding down. And they missed the layup on purpose just to get the rebound, to get the triple-double, because they were one rebound short. If you remember who that was, let me know in the comment section. What you did was worse than that, doggy. Way worse than that. If you're curious about what Draymond Green had to say after Karl Anthony Towns said what he said about Russ, Draymond said this. I once watched from the bench due to us beating the Timberwolves' ass, and he was in the game down 20 with 2 minutes to go. Come on, man. Stop talking to people about the brothers and yelling this is a brotherhood. Shake my head. Draymond wasn't wrong. Draymond wasn't wrong. Karl Anthony Towns, ladies and gentlemen. When I was starting to be like, all right, Cat Timberwolves, I see y'all. And this, I'm glad this happened to remind me to keep the pressure, to keep my foot on Karl Anthony Towns' neck. You overrated, pompous, soft, low basketball IQ, selfish, stat pattern. I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't even know the noun I'm trying to find right now. I can't even tell you. That's Karl Anthony Towns. His priorities are in all the wrong areas. Where are your priorities, Karl Anthony Towns? This isn't even something difficult to grasp or understand. This is common sense. For somebody that's been playing basketball since high school, you learn at a very young age the right way to play the game and not to do things like this in the game of basketball. I don't want to hear anything about, he's young. This is common sense, dude. This level of BS, you're not getting a pass. Oh, you're young. He doesn't understand yet. No. No. Anyone playing high school basketball can understand what's wrong with this, and this is a bad idea. But he went on ahead and did it anyway. For anybody that might have been on board with the Timberwolves this year, I knew they were a young team, but I didn't realize how immature they were. So they are young and very immature. At one point, before the Golden State Warriors really came on the scene, you could see them really starting to thrive, and you could say that's a young team, but I would never call them immature. This is a young and immature team. I feel like Coach feel like he's coaching a bunch of middle schoolers right now, trying to teach them the game of basketball. The core fundamentals of the game. Young and immature. They ain't doing a goddamn thing this year. Maybe they could use this as a building block moving forward. I don't know. I guess that's one way to look at it if you want to build on it and move forward in the right direction. But regardless, I don't give a damn what their record is. I don't give a damn. This is like coaching a bunch of kindergartners. I'm the best three-point shooter for a big man ever. Look at me. Oh, wow. Joel Embiid got 70? I'm getting close to 72. Let me keep shooting all these shots. Even though the Hornets are coming back on that ass. It's okay. I'll get us to the finish line while getting my stats. Watch me go. I'm Karl Anthony Towns. Soft. Pillsbury Doughboy soft. Woohoo! Woohoo! And at the old 90s commercial, they used to poke the Doughboy's soft ass belly. Woohoo! Soft ass Karl Anthony Towns. Get out of my face. When I was finally kind of taken, like, all right, okay, I see it. No. Everything confirmed. I'm doubling down. I'm glad y'all lost that number 1 seed. And I hope y'all stay off of it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Shay. Go ahead, Chet. Y'all do y'all thing, man. Dort, y'all boys, run it. Keep them boys in the rear view mirror. They're not deserving. They're not. Karl Anthony Towns. People keep trying to tell me about this guy. I don't want to hear nothing. That is the worst 60-point performance in NBA history. And I hope it gets forgotten and only remembered for the failure and the atrocity and the disgusting mentality of Karl Anthony Towns. And his teammates aren't absolved from this either. Y'all let me know what you think about it. Appreciate y'all for stepping in. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell. Stay notified. Let me know what you think about that boy Cat in the comment section. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. We out, baby.